Let me hit the record button. All right, so we are now recording. We are live. Somebody just dropped out. Whole family dropped out. It's all right. Maybe they'll come back in. So how's it going, Cassidy? Do you have any questions that we can answer? I think Cassidy may be working in the background. So Daisy, where do you work out of?
Right now I'm unemployed. I'm going to school right now, but I did participate in the DoD Skill Bridge program. The reason why I decided to not employ at the moment because I'm working on my startup and also changing career. So from the HR, I'm moving into the real estate realm. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm interested in the DoD Skill Bridge because I did it before and I use it. So while my knowledge is still fresh, from the beginning process all the way till I got an internship with First Command. And at that time, First Command wasn't in the DoD Skill Bridge. So I actually worked with them as far as getting vetted. We did the vetting process with the SFL TAP in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and then I finally got approved for the Skill Bridge internship with them. So
got it. Very cool. Very cool. Do you know where? So we are recording right now. Do you know where this will be saved to? Do I need to set up a folder?
Yeah, just save it on your desktop, or what you can do too. I have a record button as well, so I can also record it at my end if you forget.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and then just email it to me, and then I can upload it.
Got it. Very cool. So we have Merrick Sosh waiting to join. I remember seeing Merrick for a while on LinkedIn. Interested to see how he's doing. Merrick, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing well. How's your SkillBridge journey going?
So I am actually deployed right now. I still have about 28 months before I can officially retire.
Okay.
I am just on to learn as much as possible. So whenever that time comes, I am well prepared to knock it out of the park.
Very cool. Do you already know what you want to do and where you want to live?
I do want to either be in IT or project management. Currently hold a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity, working on a master's degree. And once I knock both those out, I will try to knock out some certifications, probably stay in the central part of the United States. Families around Arkansas. So somewhere within probably like an 8-hour bubble of there.
Excellent. As far as cyber and IT goes, I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that companies are going to be very reluctant to bring any service member on that don't have certifications. Certifications are extremely important in this IT and cyber realm. Like there's probably about a dozen different certifications in the HR space. Nobody needs an HR certification in order to do an HR job. However, that's not really the case with cyber and IT. So while you're still active, I would take advantage of your COOL program. Right? You familiar with COOL?
I am. Yep. And that I'll be utilizing that along with completing my master's.
Awesome. Very cool.
Definitely try to use all my benefits as much as possible.
Are you also familiar with the Onward to Opportunity program?
I have heard of it.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I am aware that it is a thing. I couldn't tell you much about it at the moment, though.
Okay, so COOL is pretty big, right? So they have several hundred, if not 1,000, different certifications for you to choose from. Onward to Opportunity is much smaller. So it's backed by Syracuse University. Yep. They are SkillBridge approved, which basically means you can't start a certification with them until you are within 180 days of separating or retiring. Okay. The cool thing about Onward to Opportunity is that you're actually still eligible to utilize it even after you transition.
Okay.
So whereas your COOL program, you lose that benefit once you retire or separate. Onward to Opportunity continues on. Now, they'll only pay for one certification, pass or fail. But the great thing is that they give you all of the training that you need up front in order to pass that certification. So not only do they pay for that certification, but they also pay for all of your training. And if you've ever priced out any of the cyber or the IT certifications, the training can almost be expensive as a certification itself.
Yep.
Now here's a little another cool tip about Onward to Opportunity is that once you front load, right? If you front load all of your training material for like the first 2 to 4 months, go hard, study up. Right before you're ready to take the exam, stop, and then tell your counselor that you're also interested in another certification. Now they won't pay for that second certification, but they will give you all the training that you need to pass that certification completely for free.
So study up hard on one, pause, study up on another,
and then
whichever one. Yeah.
And then go back and take the first one that you signed up for.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great idea.
Really, really cool benefit.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else has questions? How's everyone else's SkillBridge journey going? We don't really have a set format, so whenever you feel ready, jump in with your questions. How's everyone doing with networking?
I have a question, more on the line of the 180 days combined with the terminal leave. I see a lot of posts where some people are taking it on the back end after they finish SkillBridge. My command is thinking that once I do SkillBridge, once I leave, there is no coming back. Is that a true or false?
That's a really good question. So the purpose of SkillBridge is to help you transition. So there is supposed to be a very high likelihood on your end that you intend to separate. I only know of a handful of reasons or a handful of times when I've seen a service member do a SkillBridge opportunity and then re-enlist. Okay, but those have to be really detrimental. Like somebody's spouse, right? So you were married, the spouse either got very sick or they passed away, and now a second income has just fallen off the table, right? And so now you're the sole breadwinner for the family, and so now the military may allow you to re-enlist to ensure that you're able to take home a paycheck and support your family. But for the most part, once you request to do SkillBridge and then you go and you start your SkillBridge opportunity, all of your ducks should be in a row in order to separate or retire.
When I speak of coming back, I mean like to just simply check out of the command or just get your last things done, not officially like trying to re-enlist.
Got it. Yeah. So I think the Army has a different process. They require most commands require the service member to do their SkillBridge and then go back and check out. I don't recall if that's written in an instruction, but I do see that a lot in practice. If you can avoid doing that, that's going to be in your best interest, right? Especially if you're stationed in one place and you go SkillBridge in a different city and state, that financial burden of traveling back and forth is going to be on you. That's not going to be on the company. That's not going to be on your military service. So I would definitely try to completely check out. So that way, once you're eligible to retire, you finish up your SkillBridge time, you get hired on, and you just kind of fade off into the sunset as far as the military is concerned.
Hi, Dave. Can I jump in really quick?
Yeah, please.
Just to piggyback on her question. So I did the DoD SkillBridge, so I just want to share my experience on how I did that. At the end of the SkillBridge, I'm in the Army. I was in the Army. And when I did my SkillBridge, I did have to go back to my unit only to out-process. So my SkillBridge was 120 days. And then at the end of 120 days, I had a 10-day out-processing time that I had to go back to the unit. And then from that time, I have, you have a choice of how you want to do your leave, either permissive TDY, the full 20 days, or in an increment of 5 days. So I chose the increment of 5 days, meaning when I out process at the end of my permissive TDY. So basically my DoD SkillBridge internship is connected to my permissive TDY. So as soon as my DoD SkillBridge ended, it kind of like overlapped with my permissive TDY, and that's okay. You can extend it all the way as long as it's permissive TDY. You're not on leave. And then at the end of my permissive TDY, I have to go back to my unit and then attend the 10-day out processing. And then as soon as I out process, and then I did my other, what you call it? I have to have 1 day of working day between my permissive TDY and my transition leave. So I had to go back to just one day, and then that's where I sign out of transition leave. But you have to go back to the unit just to conduct your administrative paperwork. So just like Dave said, if your unit is in, let's say, is in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and your DoD SkillBridge is in Cocoa Beach, Florida, the travel, you will have to conduct your own travel, and it's not paid for by the Army. It's not paid for by the company. It's at your own expense. So sometimes it's very expensive to find an internship that is outside of your geographic location. That's why most of the DoD SkillBridge offered are within the installation's reach, like the radius. Like in Fort Sill, unfortunately, the only DoD SkillBridge that is being offered are trucking, what else? Those and other things that are within their scope. So, and the ones that you want, let's say, DoD, I'm sorry, computer, IT, they could, or Microsoft, they could be in Seattle, they could be in Chicago, Texas. So the ones that you really want to participate can be difficult to achieve because it's more money involved. And with DoD skill program, the military does not pay for that. It's sometimes the company can pay for it, but majority of the time it's at your own expense. So just like Dave said, it's you have to really plan. Is DoD SkillBridge really what I want to do? Or just, if you want to just use it, as a networking method, you can intern locally, and then at the same time, network with those that you want to intern work with later in the future, connect with those. So yeah,
April, what branch are you in?
I'm in the Navy.
In the Navy. Okay, yeah. So the Navy doesn't have that out process requirement. When I did my SkillBridge opportunity, I retired from the Navy. I submitted my request. CO let me go, and then I was gone. Right? They didn't require me to come back for anything. No PRTs, your analysis, anything like that. They pretty much just wrote me off, and I faded off into the sunset. So that was real nice.
I have a question, Dave.
Yeah, how's it going, Joseph?
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. So I got my first chit approved by the CO, and now I'm sitting here and I'm trying to find a company. And so I've got a couple ideas in mind, but my question is, I know I have to route a second chit to the CO for that specific company. Is there anything that company will need to fill out on their end, like a certain DD form or NAVPERS or anything that reinstates that they won't be paying me, but I will be working for them or whatever for 6 months?
So you said you're in the Navy?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no second chit required unless that's a local instruction that your command has put in place. Big Navy doesn't require 2 chits; they only require 1.
Our command does require 2.
Okay.
The second one will require the initial SRC in there, as well as, and that's what I was asking, was if there's any any forms that the company that themselves will need to fill out. Because I know that generally, like, the CO needs to call and speak with the recruiter, whoever has hired me, just to approve if it's not on the approved list of SkillBridge courses already or SkillBridge internships, then they need to contact the company themselves and get confirmation that I'm not going to get any financial gain.
No, all right. So we're talking about a couple different things here. So as far as the paperwork goes, Big Navy or the DoD do not require anything for you, right? So when I did my SkillBridge opportunity, I filed a request sheet, asked to be gone from this day to this day. I intend on doing my internship in San Diego, and that was it. There was another gentleman who I did my internship with who he was on an aircraft carrier. He was an LCPO. He was a duty section leader. He was a warfare coordinator. He had to write impact statements to his command showing that the command can survive without him, right? So remember that term of intrusive leadership. So right now it sounds like your command is introducing or exercising intrusive leadership, which is fine. So as far as the paperwork goes, that's going to be based on your local instruction. There's nothing from Big Navy or the DoD stating that a command needs to do anything. Now, Air Force is separate, right? The Army is separate. They have their own paperwork. But as far as the Navy goes, there's no required paperwork other than that the commanding officer expects. So that would be something that you'd need to work out with the actual company. Second thing you said was unapproved companies. So Navy sailors are unable to do any internship opportunity with any company that is not on the DoD SkillBridge list. So the company must be vetted by the DoD, and that's by instruction, right? So the Navy took that ability away for commanding officers to vet companies on behalf of service members. What was it, like March of 2020? So whatever company you want to intern with, they do need to be on the vetting list on the website. What's your timeline look like?
Well, the first shit took about 6 months to get approved. So my 180 days is in August. So I'm kind of on a time crunch right now. But
okay. Do you know what you want to do and where you want to live?
IT cybersecurity, preferably here in San Antonio, but or remote, but I'm not opposed necessarily to relocating, I guess. Actually, I am, because I do have a lease here right now that I can't really break. So it would have to pretty much be here in San Antonio. And I know there's a couple companies here already that I have looked into, and I'm probably going to reach out to, because I wasn't aware that you couldn't do unapproved companies anymore. I don't think they ever put that out.
They didn't. That was kind of an internal thing that they never put out an updated instruction on.
That sounds like the Navy.
Yeah. So here's something that I want to share with everybody. I'm gonna screen share right now. Okay. So this is the growing list of SkillBridge organizations, not opportunities. Okay. For those of you that don't know, this here is a keyword search box. So whatever you type in here, it's gonna filter all of the companies. And so right now we've got 965. How long would it take for you to sift through all 965 to find what it is you're looking for? So whatever you type into this box, it goes off of the name of the organization or the functional area / job family. So if I type in cyber, okay, it's either going to go off of the name of the company. So the name of the company has nothing to do with cyber, but what they got approved for is cyber. Okay. No cyber here, but they've got cyber here. Okay. Here, they got cyber in their name and they got cyber over here. Okay. So now I just typed in cyber and now I took it from 965 to 25. And I can honestly tell you that that's not all inclusive. 25, not all companies, right? Because we have quite a few of the DoD contracting companies that are approved. Just about all of them offer cyber opportunities. Okay, so that's how to utilize the website. So instead of figuring out how am I going to contact companies, where am I going to find opportunities, that's a really great starting point in order to find the kind of opportunities that you're looking for. Okay, here's another spot. Here's another place to find opportunities. Okay, I'm going to go to LinkedIn. Right here, jobs. You go to the jobs page. Every week I look at DoD SkillBridge. 321 results. These are all DoD SkillBridge opportunities. On the left side are going to be the opportunities. On the right side is the actual job description. So that way you know what the position is going to entail, what they're going to ask for, what kind of credentials and responsibilities they're going to ask of you. Okay, this one's from Home Depot. Okay, same thing. Job description. Okay, another place that you can look is Google. DoD SkillBridge. Whoops, can't type. Internships. Right. And this is going to be the same thing. So opportunity on the left, description on the right. Okay. Now, is anyone familiar with Candy Tillman and 50 Strong?
She's great.
I've seen it on the Facebook website.
You have? Okay, yeah. So Candy Tillman's where did I go? Candy Tillman, there it is, SkillBridge. Okay. So Candy Tillman is a strategic partner with the DoD. And so what she does is she is happy to list any, and these are actual individual opportunities where the DoD's website is not individual opportunities. Those are just companies and locations of where SkillBridge opportunities may take place. Okay, so let my screen update. And usually she has an embedded Excel document right here that has individual opportunities for you to sift through. And I'm wondering why it's not coming up. I don't know if it's my computer. My computer's been a little slow today. All right. Well, be that as it may, if you Google 50 Strong SkillBridge, okay, it'll bring you to this screen. And this is exactly where her embedded document will be. So if you're looking for individual opportunities to sift through, that's going to be a good location for you to check out. Otherwise, utilizing Google, utilize LinkedIn, open LinkedIn, the DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice LinkedIn group. Okay, that's all we talk about in there is SkillBridge. Okay, so members that are eligible to utilize SkillBridge, transition counselors, and authorized SkillBridge organization representatives are the only people that are allowed in that group. And all we talk about is SkillBridge. And all day long, there are opportunities being shared in that group. Okay, so you got lots of places to look at. For those of you that have a greater timeline, right? So let's say you're not. Who was it? It was Brandon. I think Brandon, right? You're able to start next month. For those of you that have more than 1 month, this is why networking is so important, right? You can go on Google and you can find companies that are employing people doing what it is that you want to do and network with them, right? Get them interested in you, let them know what you bring to the table, and then let them know that you've been approved to take part in a fully funded internship program, okay? Don't say SkillBridge to a company that doesn't know what SkillBridge is, because you're likely going to get ghosted, right? There are a ton of service members who say, I've been approved for SkillBridge, I want to do an internship with you, and they never hear from the company. From what I've seen from companies, if you put a cool new term in front of them, they're not going to do their homework and find out what that term means, right? They're not going to go find out what SkillBridge is. But everybody knows what a fully funded or unpaid internship is. Okay, that's going to bring them to the table. If you say that you've been approved to take part in a fully funded internship program, they're going to say, what program is that? And then you can tell them about SkillBridge. Okay, it's difficult for those of you that are right there at the wire, ready to sign a contract and go work with a company, because the networking, right, the timing is not on your side. That's not to say that you can't do it, right? So I think Brandon, it was you that you're able to start next month. Don't stop networking, right? There are always those purple unicorns that are out there. So go find those companies that are employing people doing what you want to do in the city where you want to live, and get them to like you, get them to know you, and see if they're willing to become approved.
Dave, can I jump in really quick too?
Please.
With the company, as soon as you find a company that you want to intern with and they said yes, make sure that I guess the DoD SkillBridge or the TAP or whichever service that's dealing with DoD SkillBridge, they need to vet them. to ensure that you guys are protected, because DoD SkillBridge is meant to have a guaranteed job at the end of the SkillBridge. And if they are just using you so they could get tax credits or whatnot, make sure that the company is vetted. And once you send your application for DoD SkillBridge, like say, hey, this is the company I want to work with, can you ensure that they are vetted, and so I can move forward and they will work with you.
Yeah, so Daisy brings up a good point. So definitely for the Army, right? Because the Army plays by their own set of rules. The Army actually does not recognize DoD approved companies. They have their own vetting process. There's work behind the scenes to hopefully get the Army to work with the DoD and recognize the DoD approved companies. But for the Army, that's 100% correct. For the Navy, having the company go fill out the form that's on the DoD's website is going to be step one. Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. Okay, so website, and so right here where it says industry partners / employers, you go here, click on the pencil, how to participate. And this is the first form that every company needs to fill out in order to begin the vetting process. Once they fill this out, they'll receive a generic response from the DoD stating that the DoD received their submission. And then within, probably 40 working hours, they'll receive a follow-on email with a link to the questionnaire, and the questionnaire will represent the bulk of the application. So for the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and the Navy, the company needs to start here. For the Army, if the company is not approved through the Army, then what Daisy is saying is absolutely correct. Have the company representative work with your local SFL TAP office to become approved. Okay, and this needs to be initiated by the company. As a service member, you can't walk into your local office and say, I want Amazon to be approved, and then have your local SFL office approve them, right? It's not how it works, right? The company needs to say that they are interested in becoming approved. Okay. Mark, I see your hand raised. Please go ahead, sir.
Hey, Dave, Mark here from Marine Corps. Going to be retiring coming up in January 22. Congrats. And 23 years of service. Got multiple options looking my way and not enough time to carry them all forward. I got two questions. First and foremost, internships, what are your thoughts on doing smaller, multiple internships, not with the idea of getting a job at every one, but with the idea of diversifying your resume for showing civilian aptitude? And the second question is, what certifications matter in today's job market?
Very good questions. The first question, from a company standpoint, or from a program standpoint, that's not the purpose of the program, to kind of lily pad from company to company. The DoD instruction doesn't state what happens if a service member cuts their internship short. Okay. Now, obviously, you're supposed to go back to your unit. It does only cover what's supposed to happen if the company ends your internship. And if any company ends a service member's internship, the service member is supposed to be ineligible to do another internship. But as far as kind of lily padding, hopping from company to company, the DoD grades or judges each company based on how many interns they bring in and how many of those interns they hire. And the DoD has drawn a line in the sand to say 85%. They would like to see companies hire 85% of those service members that they take on for internships. So kind of circling back to the question, from a company standpoint, if I knew that you were just looking to stay with my company for a month or two to get some experience, while I appreciate that and I may be able to support that, I may not be willing to actually do that because of the DoD's grading process, right? Grading process, right? If I don't meet that 85% mark, then the DoD is not going to, take me off the approved list. But they're going to want to know, what can I do in the short term in order to raise those numbers up? Okay, so that's why networking is really important. So that way you choose the correct company off the bat.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So for the SkillBridge program, I should look at that as my final internship. And there's two other programs that I can tap into for maybe shorter duration that doesn't affect their score rating.
Definitely, definitely. So
Got
what I would do is are you looking at multiple companies for basically the same thing? Like, do you want to do the same job but for multiple companies?
In a way, I'm kind of looking at project focus based on current job skills. Some of it's in human resources, and some of it's in data analytics, and combining the two towards people analytics and hiring practices.
Got it. So what I would do is not only should you network with the recruiters of those companies and their SkillBridge POCs, but I would also network with those companies or with those folks that already work with that company that do the job that you want to do. An IT specialist from GDIT is not going to do the same job as an IT specialist from any other company. Okay. So get them on the phone and find out what is a day in the life like for you. Right. So there may be some companies who are kind of stuck in the Stone Age and you're talking about data analytics. Well, what if your data analytics was printing stuff out on paper and highlighting in different colors, right? And then having to, resort things, right? You may look at the company sideways like, why is this so difficult? And another company may be doing data analytics using AI. And you could be doing your job in your sleep, right? They're using like artificial intelligence. And you're like, oh my God, this is exciting. This is awesome. It's not more difficult than it should be, right? So learning from the people that are already doing the job that you're interested in doing is a great way for you to, kind of weed through all the opportunities and learn about the company and make the best decision for you and your family. As far as your second question goes, I would say the best thing to do for that is to go look at the job requisitions. Go look at the job descriptions for those things that you want to do, right? You talked about human resources and data analytics. So a job description is going to state what level of certifications do you need? What education do you need? How many years of experience, right? What are you going to be doing? Okay. So the best thing that I would do is go find job descriptions from multiple companies that are describing the job that you want to do and kind of put them all together in a hodgepodge and see what they're all saying, right? If they're asking for a 4-year degree, then you need to bang out some college. If they're looking for you to get, security plus, if it's, there's a difference between required and desired. Most companies are unwilling to waive what's required. Okay. That's kind of like a baseline. I need you to have and know no less than this right here. But desired, right? If you don't have it, it's okay. If I think that you're good enough, or I think that you're smart enough, I'm willing to bring you on and we can work towards you earning those certifications or those degrees. But definitely the things that are required as per the job description, I would definitely focus on that and start working on those educational pieces.
Can I jump in too, Dave, and say something?
Yeah, definitely.
So
and for those of you that don't know Darius, right? Darius is a wealth of knowledge. He did the SkillBridge program with Navy Fed, decided not to go with Navy Fed, and ended up getting a job with Booz Allen Hamilton. But Darius is an absolute wealth of knowledge. And Darius, I appreciate you being here with us today.
So I'm sorry, guys. I was like on mute listening to you all. But as far as your second question, also regarding search, if you're doing data analytics, so I work with a company, Booz Allen Hamilton, and almost everything we do has some type of big data built into it. I do acquisitions and contract management. There's still data involved in that because there's a lot of numbers and stuff. And one of the search, everyone wants a PMP. I can tell you that right now. If you come in from any space in the government and you have a PMP, someone will be able to pick you up and utilize you just because you have the PMP. Tableau is huge. The Navy across the board is licensed to use. The Department of the Navy across the board is licensed to use Tableau. They have read rights, not write, so they can see it. So they need outside talent to go in. And so I use Tableau sometimes when I present or make data because it's just a lot friendlier than me using Excel. If you are good in Excel and you can get a cert, Excel, Microsoft has certs for Excel, but I can't remember off the top of my head, like a master Excel or something like that, using Power BI to move data, and then program it with data, right? Like R, for example. There's another, there's another thing that I was supposed to learn how to use. It's similar to Tableau, and it's the software is escaping me right now, but any of those things are, I would say PMP and Tableau if you're going into data, or I wish I can remember the name of the other system right now. It's really slipping my mind. But those things that show that you can manage data will then even show that we can use, or someone else could use you to learn other things, right? Because we could say, okay, well, he has experience using data, especially even just using, like I said, using Excel to manage data, because Excel actually is very intricate. And I didn't use Excel to its full capability until I got out of the Navy. So, but using Excel to truly manage data will usually show that it'll be easy for you to go into other avenues, because I think Excel is harder because it's not as user friendly. But the PMP, I would definitely say if you're looking for a certigraph, that would probably be one of the ones that I would get outside of getting a certificate that's data specific. I would definitely grab a PMP. And there are a lot of opportunities for us as veterans and those of us who are transitioning to get the PMP. Your local command may offer them. The command I was at when I transitioned actually offered courses in it, but I was in a leadership command. I know that like Navy Cool, for example, offers it, but if you're an officer, you have to get some time back if you utilize Navy Cool. So I don't necessarily recommend that. But there are a lot of resources out there for us to get certificates like PMP and stuff like that, or the company might pay for it. There was a cert that I needed that Boo said when I came on board, they actually gave me 120 days to complete it, and they paid for it. So, that could be it too. You could just murder the interview and then they'll just pay for the cert that they want you to have, because you come out the gate with the clearance and you already had experience. So that could work too.
Very cool. Awesome. April.
Thanks, Dave. Darius, appreciate it.
Whoop. April, I see your hand raised. How's it going?
Going well. I want to kind of go back into the beginning because I'm with the intrusive command who looks, they go by what they see in writing.
Mhm.
So on the FAQ page, it says, no to the setting of leave back and, using all your terminal leave and things before time. But then I see on Facebook where people have sold leave back and, went straight to work and wanted to do it that way. Is
Mhm.
there any Navy instruction that shows that you can do that leave can be sold back?
Yeah, so it's the navadmin 222/15 and the DoD 1322.29. So the FAQ page is what the DoD would like. The DoD and the navadmin are what is actually required. And so I've spoken with the program director about this. They don't want a service member to sell any leave back at the end because they see that as more money out of pocket, right? They've already spent, let's say, up to 6 months of salary and benefits on you, and they haven't, and you haven't worked, right? Doing your Navy job for up to 6 months. They don't then want to pay for your leave. So they want you to take your leave while you're in. They're happy for you to take terminal leave, but that's while you're still active. They don't want you to do all of your SkillBridge time and then sell leave back on the back end. So by direction, you are able to sell back leave. However, the DoD would prefer that you don't, and that's why it's stated like that on the FAQ page. Does that make sense, April?
It makes sense. So at the end of the day, though, if there is time on the books, that time would be sold back, period.
You can, yes, you are authorized to.
Because we're still accruing leave while we're on the SkillBridge program. So it's like, what happens with that if you're unable to sell it back?
Well, then if you weren't going to take it as terminal leave and your command's not going to allow you to sell it back, then yeah, you would lose that leave, unfortunately.
But usually, at least my experience, and I applied and got approved for 2 different SkillBridge opportunities, that is factored in, right? So they're taking those days into account. So when they're counting back your 6-month period, your 180 days, for me, because I wasn't selling any leave back, we had already factored all of that in because I actually took terminal. And so I submitted for my terminal, I set my SkillBridge program up to end on a specific date, which was like a week before my terminal leave ended. or before my terminal leave began. And I had my terminal leave calculated knowing what I was earning to the end of my contract. So that's how I determined when I was going to actually be eligible to start terminal leave. And I think I had 65 days or something like that, 66 days, something to that extent. So, and I always recommend, and it's a preference for everyone, because I've sold leave back during my career, and it's taxed, you know. And so, but for me personally, I recommend taking terminal. I think it's better. And I had it set up, and I told the guys, even when I did my SkillBridge, I said, hey, this is my stop date. And my stop date was when terminal leave was going to start. So if you want to hire me, you should make the decision to hire me by the time or somewhere while I'm on terminal leave. So that way I could start receiving a paycheck while I'm on terminal. Because one of the things that happened to me was that the company I work with now at the pay grade that I'm at, we only get paid once a month. Well, when I started, it was the last week of the month. So I went 5 weeks before I got my first paycheck because I missed the cutoff for that month, right? Well, I was on terminal leave. So it was okay that I went 5 weeks before I got my first civilian paycheck, because I was still getting paid by the Navy. Furthermore, when my Navy contract ended, the contract ended on the 20th. My contract ended on the 20th. So I was expecting that from the 15th to the 20th, I would get that paycheck on the 1st, right? It would be a small check, but it'd be from the 15th to the 20th. I didn't get that check for like 7 weeks because the Navy audited all of my accounts. You know, they audit from all the time I got medically retired, but I had, 15 years in, they had audited everything back. It took them like 6-7 weeks to give me all of my, to give me my last check. So again, that was okay because by that time, not only had I exhausted all my terminal, but I was well in the groove of my civilian paycheck. So I was getting my pay how I was supposed to, and I actually started receiving my pay from the VA. So I recommend taking terminal and hopefully starting your new career while you're on terminal. But it's up to you. You can say leave back. That's on you. It's just my experience. I was glad that I took the terminal because I actually needed that period of time to have that overlap in pay, because the pay doesn't start right away and you don't get your last paycheck from the Navy right away. Even if you're retiring like after 20 years and you're not doing a medical separation of retirement like I did, they still have up to 30 days to give you your pay. And if you are doing a literal separation, they have up to 90 days before they have to pay you your last check. And a lot of us don't account for that. So it could be a month or 2 months before you actually receive your last check. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense. And I was thinking about that part, and then my command did not want me to take all of my terminal leave. They wanted me to take half of my terminal leave with SkillBridge, and then do the other half is just, regular terminal leave. And I'm like, well, I don't want to use half of my leave and be on SkillBridge because I'm doing it in a whole nother geographical location. And so it's just a lot of going back and forth. And like I said, well, now that I have the instruction, I'm going to pull that tomorrow. So it's just easier. What I think for me would have been just easier starting and then just selling back the leave and just being gone altogether. But of course, a command who's trying to keep you to the very last moment, you're like, oh, okay, well, no, you can go on leave and talk to your company about that, because I'm like, I don't want to use my terminal leave and be doing SkillBridge. I'm at a job, I'm not really on leave.
Can I jump in that really quick?
Sure.
Yeah, for April, I was on that same boat too, April. I had to weigh my options as far as selling my leave or just take that chance and just use my leave while I'm on DoD SkillBridge. And the reason I said that is because I think it's best to just go ahead and take the transition leave while on DoD SkillBridge if that's your only chance that you have versus selling it. Because here's the benefits. 1, you still are getting paid. 2, you still get your benefits. 3, you have family, you get your BAH still, and you also have the medical, you can still get medical appointments done. So while you're on SkillBridge. So if you sell your terminal while you're on SkillBridge, then and you cut your time short while on service, then you won't have those benefits, and now you won't have, now you will have to pay out of pocket for medical if your spouse is not military, you know, or if you haven't received your VA disability yet. And so those are things to consider. So just, you know, like just weigh it out, and what's best for you and your family when deciding to sell. I decided to just go ahead and not sell, and kind of like my permissive TDY was squeezed in with my DoD SkillBridge, and I just have to just sacrifice those permissive TDYs that I have, and just moved on with it, because I see the benefits of of still being active duty while in the program. And because once you get out, I'm already retired, and you know, the first 2 months of not receiving my pay and my disability, that was rough, you know, because I'm used to getting paid every 2 weeks, and now I'm like, I don't have any paycheck coming in for the 2 months because it's being audited, and you know, I still have bills to pay. But being in this, what I mean, staying while active duty in the program kind of helped me save some money aside to for the rainy days. So, you know, don't abruptly just say, okay, I'm just gonna sell my leave, and you know, think about the future ahead. You know, sometimes being a service member, active duty, we're kind of like tunnel vision right now. You know, we just want to get out, we just want to get this over with and move forward. But we have to, you know, just like Dave said, we have to look past and see, you know, the opportunities outside of that. So we really need to be very careful with our decisions, so you know, we don't fall in that boat like I did, 2 months of no pay, and I'm like, but thankfully I had some money saved. So, but yeah.
Awesome. How do you feel about that, April?
It sounds great, but okay, so I'm a little confused because how I set up my EAOS day is March of 22. And so my 180 days would start in October of this year. So I had my SkillBridge, and I already have an employer. But so it's set up from October exactly until the date that I get out. So either way, I wouldn't be cutting my time short, I don't think, by selling the days. Does that make sense? Or like you said, we get tunnel vision sometimes. So
no, if I understand you correct, I'm sorry, Dave, you want to
get it, sir.
The way that I understand from based off what you said is that you intend to do 180 days of SkillBridge, which will start in October and end in March, which will take you right to the end of your EAOS, right?
Correct.
And in that scenario, you also have leave on the books. But according to the instruction, you can SkillBridge for up to 180 days, but you have to burn any leave that you have too. So when I did mine, I actually set my SkillBridge up, and a lot of companies will do this, where the internship is only like 10 to 12 weeks. I think I did mine for just short, like 2.5 months or something like that, because I started late. I didn't start right at the 6-month period. So I did mine for approximately 2.5 months, came back for a week so I can check out the command. And then I went on terminal leave for 2 months. I'm under the impression that if you, and Dave will correct me on this, but I'm under the impression that if you go from October straight to March, you're going to automatically burn any terminal leave that you have in that period. That was the way that I understood the instruction. You have to take leave in conjunction with it if you go for the whole 6-month period.
I have a question for April.
Darius hold on a second, Daisy. No. So as far as that goes, so you don't have to take leave in conjunction with it. You can either take terminal leave or you can sell it back. What a lot of commanding officers do is they like to reclassify a service member's time away from the unit differently. So for me, I got approved for a full 6 months, but the last 2 months of my SkillBridge time, I was on terminal leave. Some commanding officers will only allow a service member to do like a 4-month TAD or TDY SkillBridge opportunity, and then 2 months of terminal leave. Yada, 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 you're gone for 6 months, but they're reclassifying your time away from the unit differently. So while you're on SkillBridge, you're still going to continue to earn leave, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with that. Is that already spoken for when you roll it into your terminal leave? Or are you going to sell it on the way out? Or are you going to lose it? Okay, so those are pretty much the three options.
Oh, I
Daisy,
have a
we-
question for April.
Mhm.
How many days of leave do you have? Do you have?
Right now, I will be at the 60 days, and I've never sold leave back. But
Okay.
my command is doing exactly what you just explained. She wants me to do the 4 months and then the 2 months on the back end and reclassify this. But the job I'm in, I would really love because they offer the 179 days or whatever. And then I would really love to do it that way. But of course, when the command can't lose you or don't want to lose you. But that's really what she's proposing. Do 4 months
But
and then do the next 60 days off your terminal leave. That's
but
exactly
is 4 months not enough time for them to determine whether or not they want to hire you?
Yeah.
Because and
I'm not
that was
sure.
what I
Okay.
that's what I proposed to Navy Federal, which is who I had Amazon and Navy Federal both offer or accept for me to do SkillBridge with them. And in both scenarios, my response was the same, was like, when I start terminal leave, I expect to be hired, because I was still dropping resumes everywhere, right? I still had offer letters or contingent offer letters and stuff like that coming in. I was still doing interviews while I was on SkillBridge, because even though the point of SkillBridge is for you to be hired by the organization because they have a funded position available, it's not guaranteeing you that you will get hired, right? So, and having another offer letter allows you more room to negotiate too at the table. So in my opinion, I would think that 3.5, even 3 months, really, I would think that 3 to 4 months should be enough time for them to determine whether or not they want to bring you on board, which then allows them to bring you on board as soon as you start the terminal leave. And that's something that you can negotiate. I think oftentimes we go into SkillBridge and we don't negotiate for ourselves, because it's still a benefit to the company. Like, they're not paying us, though it's a benefit to us too, because we get to learn and make sure we can actually maneuver, or if this is actually even something that we want to do. You could be going into a career field you think you want to do, and then once you 2-3 weeks into the internship, decide that you don't actually want to do that. But I would try to negotiate that with them and ask them, hey, can I do 10 weeks or 12 weeks, go back to my command for a week, and then come back, and see what they say. But I do think that 4 months should be enough time for them to make that decision. I don't think you need to take the whole 6.
Okay, great. I definitely can go back and ask those questions. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
definitely
think that's especially true for those of you that are going to be doing SkillBridge Opportunities, pretty much doing the same job that you're doing in the military. I can't, I'm the SkillBridge lead for my company, and I don't need somebody in the seat for 6 months doing a job that they were already doing in the military to figure out whether or not we're going to hire them or not. You know what I'm saying? So, I'd like to echo what Darius is saying. Unless you're, if you're a Navy cook and you're trying to get a job doing cybersecurity, right? You're trying to choose a different career. Then I would say, maybe the new company needs to see you in the seat for a little bit longer. But definitely, if you're doing something out of the military that you were doing while in the military, I don't think that they need 6 months to see you. They should be able to make that decision a lot faster.
Okay, thank you so much.
Go ahead, Daisy. I think I cut you off again.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just actually looking at your timeline, April. So October is when you kind of project when you start your SkillBridge, and like Darius said, maybe 90 days to 120 days seems like good enough time to to work with that SkillBridge company that you want to work with. So October, November, December, possibly January is the SkillBridge time with them. January, possibly maybe start working on your permissive TDY. That's where your permissive TDY is going to be, either 20 days or an increment of 5 days. I'm not sure if that's the Navy way also. And then February, March is your 60-day all the way to your EAS. So I think I think it's doable. It's 180-day is just a suggested time frame to allow the service member to, enough time to find that DoD skill bridge. It's not really a mandatory 180 days is the time that the company really wants you to do skill bridge with them. It's just a timeline for you to navigate it and start planning. Believe me, trust me, when I started my skill bridge, it went really fast. Next thing you know, I was already signing out on leave. So yeah, it's really fast, and you will be surprised how fast it is. And next thing like, have I planned after when I get out of leave? So that's something to think about too. One thing that I want to add before I give this to Dave is make sure, especially if you have more than 5 years and you were deployed or were injured while on active duty, take advantage of the BDD program, the Beneficiary Disability Discharge. You only have a very short window of time, which is 180 days to the 90 days prior to your separation. And if you miss that window, you have to file just like other veterans who left the service before the BDD process started. And the waiting game is really long if you go outside that window. I use the BDD program, and as soon as my retirement date was 1 September, and as soon as 1 September hit, I received my BDD ratings right there and then. So if you go outside, so April, your BDD timeframe is October to December, so which falls within your DoD skill bridge. So that means you have to, before October, like around September and August, start working on gathering all your medical records and start preparing them, because once October and December hit, that's where you're gonna be working consistently with a VA rep. And if you miss that window, then you miss it.
Yeah. Let's expand on that. Hey, Brandon, I see that you have a question, but I really want to expand on this. So what Daisy is saying is the VA disability rating process, right? That's the CMP exam, the compensation and pension. Okay. The VA will not talk to you until your 180-day mark, which coincidentally is the first day that you can start SkillBridge. So when you're signing up for a SkillBridge opportunity, please make it known to the employer up front not to expect you in the office 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. Okay. There were some weeks, and when I say some, I mean like 2 or 3 weeks out of the full 6 months when I was only in the office for 2 out of 5 days. That's how many appointments that I had. Okay. Don't short yourself on this process, because this can potentially pay you money every month tax-free for the rest of your life. Okay. So something else that Daisy is talking about is if you miss that window and you have to file later, okay, although you have something in your medical record stating that you have headaches, you have back problems, or neck problems, or whatever the case may be, if you file your claim with the VA after you get out of service, the VA will say, "Yep, I see in your medical record that you had back problems, got it." But if you've spent like a year or so out of service, they're going to say, "Well, I don't know that your back is as bad as it is today because of your time in service. How do I know your back didn't get as bad, the year that you spent out of service?" And so you're going to miss out on a higher rating. So you definitely want to take some time and complete all of your medical appointments while on active duty, because if you do any of your medical appointments after, that may take away from your rating. They're going to acknowledge that you have those issues, right? Because they're documented in your record. But the severity of those issues is what's called into question. Okay. If you have, back issues and you can barely stand watch, you can't, hold a gun and a flak jacket and ammo and anything like that, right? You got to take pain pills to survive. You may be at this level, right, for a rating. But if you wait to file your paperwork, or have your VA rep wait to file your paperwork, you have these problems. But the VA may say, "Oh, well, you waited too long, and now all the time that you spent out of service, I only see you at this level because I can't prove that you have this severity of issues with all of that based on the time in service. How do I know that the time, or that your symptoms didn't get worse with your time out of service?" Daisy saying, hence staying well on active duty during SkillBridge. Oh, that just disappeared for me.
Yeah. Well,
Good
I'm gonna
option.
just echo what Daisy and Dave said, because if SkillBridge is important, that day 180 to day 90 is, you have to file the VA. So if you guys don't take anything else from this, do that part, right? Make sure that you file for your VA, because it takes a while for just to go through that whole process. What I did that was a con, and I do not recommend that you do, I was waiting to get my medical record. And don't do that. Just file right away, because by the time you file, they review it and start asking you for stuff. In that interim, your medical record will likely come in. When I put the request in for medical records, and I was at a large MTF. I was a corpsman too, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, somebody hook me up. No, it took like 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks for them to get me my my medical record, and that type of stuff takes so long that it's dwindling down. You really only have 90 days to file. You have between day 180 day 90. So even though when you read it or someone tells you about the BDD, they say 180 days, but you don't get the full 180 days. It's 90 days. It's day 180 to day 90. You have to file in that 90-day period. So it's better to file, have it already open and started, and pull in records as you need to and schedule your appointments. And again, as Dave said, make sure that you tell your future employer, like, hey, I'm gonna have a medical appointment. The VA, when they outsource your medical appointments, you can ask them. I told them, I gave them my availability. So I could do appointments any day, Friday, anytime, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during a week after 3, because I was trying to be considerate of my employer. And then I asked them, or you guys can just group all my appointments like on one day, like do the best you can, even if it means I have to drive all over the tri-state area, but they're grouped into one day, so I could try to limit some of my time out of the office. But make sure you file. Don't wait too long to get your medical record, or put the request in for your medical record now. And as things get updated, you can add those things to the claim later, and that's fine, right? So that you have something to submit now. You've been in for more than 4, 5, 10 years. You have stuff in your record already, so you can submit off of that and then add to it. And then continue to interview for other jobs. I know that may seem kind of counterintuitive doing your internship, but I can tell you from personal experience, it will be to a benefit from you. If nothing else, just so that you have a real idea of what salary should look like, what your worth is in the market, what other opportunities exist that you may not be interested in. I thought I was going to be a project manager, and I do contract management and acquisition, which has project management built into it, but it's not, truly my job title. So those are some key takeaways that I would give. Yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I agree with you.
Brandon, you've been waiting patiently, sir. Go ahead. What's your question?
I'll have to backtrack a sec. It's about the terminal leave and all that. I don't want to go back to it, but how do you know if your command allows you to sell your leave days at the end of your SkillBridge? Because that was my intention, was to sell all of them so I can get the most out of my 180 days with whatever company. But I don't want to go through it all thinking, oh, I'm going to get, a bigger paycheck when I get out. If it's just going to all be use it or lose it days. So do you have any recommendations on who to talk to as far as whether that's an approved thing to do at your command?
Yeah, so you probably have an instruction that's written, and possibly not if it's in conjunction with SkillBridge. You may not have something like that combined, but I would definitely raise it to your personnel officer and ask them what the command's policy is on something like that. And if they don't have a policy, then propose one. Let them know what your intentions are, and write it up in a request and see if they sign off on that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Teresa, she put something in the chat. If I had a VSO, look at my record, and she jotted items down. She said she would do another review next June to finalize it, send out to the VA. Is that enough time if my retirement date is December 2022? My SkillBridge should start in March as long as I can find a company. Okay, is that a good timeline? So, yeah, I mean, getting started in the process earlier is better than getting started in the process later. like what Darius said, present the information that you have, and then you can always add to it. But here's something that can happen, right? You can't have wrist, elbow, and shoulder problems documented in your record, go, to the VA process, and then all of a sudden say, oh yeah, I also have headache issues, right? If it's not documented in your record, your VSO has nothing to fight for. So don't think that you need an encyclopedia thick, medical record, right? Go to medical as often as you need to, right? However bad your symptoms are, go get checked out, go to therapy, stuff like that. But you really only need something in your medical record once in order for your VSO to fight for you. If you don't have it in your record at all, then it's like it never existed. So then there's nothing for your VSO to fight for you for. So really the way the process goes is if you have enough cumulative evidence in your medical record for, let's say, a neck injury, right? If you have a neck injury and there's enough cumulative medical evidence in your record to state that it's bad enough and it's expected for you to have this issue for the rest of your life, the VA won't even send you to an appointment for that. They're just going to be like, okay, I give up. We'll rate you for that, right? They don't need to send you to a doctor to prove what was already proven in your medical record. But if you jammed your thumb in a doorway one time, right, and you got a boo-boo, right, you got a black and blue on your thumb, and that's in your medical record, is there enough cumulative evidence there for the VA to pay you for that issue for the rest of your life? Okay. In this instance, I'm going to say no. And so what the VA is going to do is send you to a doctor to examine your thumb. And if that doctor says, oh yeah, you got a lot of damage, you got nerve damage, you got cartilage, you got muscle, bone, skeletal issues. Yes, you have issues. The VA should pay you for the rest of your life. Then that's, you're going to go to the doctor and that's part of the VA C&P exam process. But if you have enough evidence in your record to support any of your issues or symptoms, the VA just may say, Omni Domni, we're going to rate you on that and you don't have to go see a doctor. Teresa, does that answer your question?
I seen a question that said, what if your PCM is a civilian? Is your PCM a civilian at an MTF? Because if they're a civilian at a military hospital or military treatment facility or a military clinic, it doesn't matter because that's not relevant. All that's going right into your military medical record. Now, if you're saying that, let's say, for example, you are more than 100 miles away from an MTF, so you literally have to go out in town and see a true civilian for your care because, you're not stationed near a heavy populated military installation, then yeah, you should try to do a record transfer. But even those records, you can still submit to the VA. They will take them. They're still part of your active duty records. Any medical records that you have occurred while you were on active duty service. In addition to that, oftentimes we like to assume or guess like how we may be rated. Like, oh, I complained 3 times that my head was hurting. I'm definitely going to get migraines. The VA, like everything else in the military, they have instructions that will tell you what criteria they look for the evaluation. If you read the instructions, they will help you when you go into your exam because it gives you more of a general idea of what it is that you actually should mention, assuming that it's true because they're still going to evaluate you, but what it is that you should mention to say, hey, I do have this elbow pain and as a result I have a secondary shoulder injury because I can't bend my elbow correctly, or a common one is like I do have this knee pain which leads into a secondary joint issue in the ankle or something like that, or secondary joint issue in the hip. So you guys can go on the VA's website and actually pull up those evaluate or Google them and pull up the evaluation instruction. So it's a lot to get into and to read, but read it so you know what they're looking for before you. Oh, see, here we go right here. So now you have a real good idea of what they're actually looking for. You don't have to guess. At least gives you a general idea. That's my suggestion.
Yep. So it's a 38 CFR. So if you throw that into Google, this is the government website. This is the e-benefits, the VA website. And so you'll be able to click on each of these chapters and kind of find out a little bit more about your issues and the way the VA sees them. Perfect. Thanks, Darius. Robert, I think that was part of your question. What else you got, sir?
No, that was actually pretty much most of my questions because I'm actually Coast Guard. I'm waiting for them to actually approve the whole SkillBridge program, which is currently up at the 4-star level, waiting for them. So I'm trying to get all the information I can. And my PCM has been remote for the last 6 to 8 years. So that's one of the big things that worries me is getting all that stuff done while I'm doing the SkillBridge. So I'm pretty much here for all the information I can get.
Awesome.
I used to pay out in town to see a doctor, chiropractor in sports medicine, because I just felt he was just way better than what they offered at Bethesda. And when I submitted my claim to the VA, I just took the records, and they, they took it, right? So I had been seen on base maybe once, and I had been seen by this dude, I don't know how many times over like a 6-7 month period or something like that. He was just better. And the VA took those records. They had no, he's still a medical provider, and it was still while I was on active duty. So they didn't say anything about it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've had everything that's gone on that I'm going to apply for is perfectly documented. So that's the only thing that worries me is the civilian doctor versus the military hospital doctor.
I mean, they're still, when they're going through evaluating your records, they're looking based off of the ICD-9 and ICD-10 codes. Well, it should all be ICD-10 codes, but some of the military branches are slow to adopt ICD-10, even though it's been out for a while. So medical professionals, when they go in, they code everything the same, right? So that it can be billed the same. And even at MTS, we code it. Even though people aren't billed for it, they still capture what it would cost, because TRICARE is billed for it and there's revenue associated with that, which is way more than what you asked for. But my point is that, so the VSO and everyone, when they're looking at your medical record, they're pulling off those codes. Everybody's using the same codes. So they're either using ICD-9 codes or ICD-10 codes. And then the VA is using those same codes. It's a standard across the United States. So it should not be that big of a difference, because the codes are the same. The only difference will be in nuances like getting profiles or chits, depending on the branches. But outside of stuff like that, that's branch specific, knee pain, chronic knee pain is chronic knee pain. The ICD-10 code for that is going to be the same regardless of who documents it.
All right, I appreciate it.
Hey, Robert, I appreciate you being here. I'm for those of you that don't know the story, last June, there was an admiral, and maybe Robert, the admiral's name. I don't recall. It was like the middle of June. An all coast message came out, basically stating, stop asking about SkillBridge. You're not authorized. Yep. There are other programs to take advantage of. You're not eligible for SkillBridge. The lawyers went to work immediately. And I think it was August of last year, Bill 6395 was introduced to Congress that was allowing or asking for the Coast Guard, National Guard, and Reserves to become approved for SkillBridge. That was passed. The Senate passed it in October. Then it went in front of the president. The president vetoed it in December. And then January 11th, it went back to a supermajority right in front of the Senate. And on January 11th of 2021, the Senate signed it into law. Bill 6395 now allows Coast Guard, National Guard, and reservists to take part in SkillBridge. So they are now covered.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching that since the early January, and my brother-in-law, Justin Cook, he's in here as well. And I'm just waiting for them to sign it. I've talked to everybody I can to work with. I'm just waiting for them to get it into place, because, I retire August of next year. So I'm trying to set it up to where I can do it. And whether I get in or not, as long as they set it up to where a Coast Guard member can do it in the future, that's awesome.
Yep.
But I've seen it where the congressman got a little pissed off, per se, and because they seen that message that's sent out. And I read the message, and it was like, you're not going to go long-term TDY, which is, hey, we've spent 20 years in the military or Coast Guard helping you guys do what we do. You can't give me 6 months.
Yep.
So I've read everything, and it's actually, I've been waiting on it and reading everything about it.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, folks, we've been online for about an hour. What other questions do we have? Everyone's got their questions answered? All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you got your questions answered. If not, we will be here every week, every Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Same link that you used to join this session will be the same link that we're going to use week after week. Thanks for being here. If you think of anything else, feel free to reach out. Also, let your friends know about this. If you know some other service members that have some questions, please ask them to join as well. We're happy to answer those questions. This episode was being recorded, and so it'll be posted both on Facebook and LinkedIn. Please feel free to share it with those that that have some questions. Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a good day.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, Dave.